Hey everyone, so I think I should be live now. If you can't hear me, please, well, I think I'll notice from your chat messages. But, so, we're live now, and in this stream I'm going to build a Rubik's Skewb out of paper, together with all of you guys. So, I hope you already have the pieces cut out, because you're going to need them. So, I already have them here, and I'm not going to cut them out on stream because you suggested that this is pretty boring. So I thought I'll try it out like this. So these are going to be the center pieces, or the square pieces on a Skewb. Then we have the corner pieces here and the second type of corner piece here. I already built one of each of the pieces beforehand, because I wanted to try out if the puzzle is really going to work, and this is how the pieces are going to look like in the end. So I'd say we jump right in it and start to build this puzzle. If you have any questions at any point, just write in the chat and I'll do my best to answer your questions and to help you build this puzzle as well. I'm going to start with the mechanism, as you can see on screen. And this is basically this part here, because this is going to be the core. And then we're going to attach these axes here to the core. So I'm going to cut a bit into each of the lines here, because like that the pieces are going to be easier to be folded afterwards. Yeah, Matthias Alfredo, that is a gun Skewb. As I mentioned in my last video, Skewb is basically my only event where I'm kind of decent in. So yeah, I sometimes during the last months I bought myself a gun Skewb as well. Also, if the music is too loud or too quiet, just tell me, because I can't really tell. So now, after cutting into each of the folds a bit, I'm going to fold the piece and then glue it together. This piece is really not very complicated. It's just going to be a tetrahedron, like you can see here. Actually, I think I'm going to cut a bit of these pieces here, because like that the piece is going to stick together better. So now that this is done, I can show you how the piece is going to look in the end. It's just going to be a tetrahedron, like this. So let's go ahead and glue it together. I kind of find it funny how you all write that you glued some parts beforehand because you were afraid to fall behind. I mean, it's not bad if you can't finish the puzzle during the live stream, because the video is going to be available afterwards as well. So it should really be no problem. You can just rewatch the parts that you need afterwards. Yeah, come on. Okay, so this looks good. Okay, so this is the core. It's nothing special, like we can just put that aside and continue with the axes now. So for these you don't want to cut into the folds anywhere, because we're just going to roll them around some object. You can also do this without something to roll it around, but I find it easier, and yeah, with these screwdrivers they kind of have the perfect width. So you just roll it into cylinders, and then you put some glue on here and glue them together like this. Yo, bro, Spider-Man, thanks for stopping by. No problem that you didn't make in time. I'm sure you have other stuff to do as well, apart from watching my videos and streams. So yeah, this is how the axes should look like, and you just want to do that to all 4 of the axes. Yeah, sure, I'll do the Gigaminx on stream. Apart from that being pretty much impossible to build this puzzle out of paper in the first place, it would take like 5 days, I think. So I don't think that I'm going to build a Megaminx next, because that puzzle is also really big and would take very long. So for these Let's Build Togethers, I'm always kind of looking for puzzles which are not too big. So a Skewb is pretty much perfect because it has, I don't know, how many pieces does a Skewb have? 8, and it has 14 pieces. So that's not too many. You should be able to build these in, I think, 2 hours or something like that. Well, I guess we'll find out. I think you'll be able to see a full solve of the paper Skewb in this live stream in the end. So I don't think that I'm going to make a new video just for that. Okay, so the axes are done now, and you can see all 4 of the axes are here. And now we're going to glue them in the middle of the core, of each side of the core. So, yeah, for that I'm just going to put glue on the lower side of the axes. And it's important that you choose the right side to do this, because the glue has to go on the side which does not have this line here. So you can see this line here, the glue goes on the opposite side of that. And yeah, once there's glue on there, you just try to find the middle of the side and put it on there. I think this looks pretty nice. Okay, so 3 more sides to go. So Matthias, you're saying that you think that paper cubes with magnets would become useless. I'm trying out some things with magnets right now, so I think you can expect a video about a Rubik's Cube with magnets in the future from me. Because if the magnets aren't very strong, they could be pretty well. So they could increase the turning quality quite a bit. Because the puzzle would be far more stable like that. Okay, so the core is done now in theory, but we want to strengthen the bond between the core piece and the axis a bit more. So you're just going to take glue and go around the seam between the two pieces and try to get a bit of glue everywhere on there, because in the end this is going to strengthen the bond quite a bit. Here we go. This looks pretty good for the mechanism. So now we can just set this aside and let it dry. And we're going to continue with basically with all of these pieces here, which in the end are for the corner pieces, so we will need these here as well, and these small pieces. So I'm going to change the description of what I'm doing real quick, because this time I'm not forgetting it. Because the last few streams I always forgot to update the what I'm doing part, but yeah, that's not happening today. So now for this, these pieces are going to be these inner pieces. Wait, let me focus. Are going to be these inner pieces here. So when we look at it from the side, we can see that they are going to be curved like this. And to achieve this, firstly we want to bend it a bit so that it already has this curved shape. So let me just catch up with the chat real quick. Hi Alexander Babik, thanks for stopping by, and also hi Prakash Patel. Thanks for stopping by And if you have any questions for what I'm doing or how I'm doing something, or like basically anything, doesn't have to be related to the puzzle, then you just write it in the chat and I'll try to answer. Okay, so I'm just always putting a bit of glue on each of the seams, and then I'm pressing the pieces together until they stick onto one another. This is kind of a tedious process, but I didn't find any better way to do this, so we just have to get through this. There are going to be more interesting parts of the build as well, I promise. Someone is asking how many of the corners are already done. I just built one of the corners here beforehand because I wanted to see if the puzzle is going to work and if everything is looking like it should be, and if all the pieces like match one another and if it's going to work out. So this looks pretty good for the first of these pieces, and yeah, now to the next ones. One thing you might want to watch out is these are actually smaller than these ones here. So we have two kinds of these pieces. We have small ones and then bigger ones. Because when we look at this here, we have these smaller ones up here, and then down there are the bigger ones. And yeah, it is important that we don't mix them up. So, Rakesh Patel, I already said your name, I think. I mean, I'm probably pronouncing it all wrong, but in theory I said your name, so... Right now there's really not that much going on. These pieces aren't too interesting because you just put a little glue on there and then you gotta hold it for like 30 seconds or something like that to let the glue dry enough, and then you can do the next part. But yeah, we have to get through that as well. I think I'm just going to build two of them and then build the other parts of the corner piece, because like that, at least like every 7 minutes or something like that, we get to see a more interesting part being made. So Alexander Babic, you're asking what glue I'm using. I'm using super glue by Uhu. Depending on where you live, it's probably a bit tricky to get your hands on this one because I'm from Germany and here Uhu is like the go-to brand for everything with glue. But I think if you're in the US or somewhere else apart from Germany or Austria, then it's pretty hard to get your hands on these kinds of glues. But I think every super glue should work. I like this one because it tends to dry a bit slower, and also if you get some on your fingers, it's more easy to get it off again. So hi in average Italian and hi D-Boat. If you have any questions, just ask. And yeah, I'm getting to a more interesting part now again, because now we can let this dry as well and go on to this part here, which, well, it is not as boring as these pieces. So I'm going to cut a bit into the folds again, like I pretty much always do. And now I can fold everything and then glue it together. So at first you're going to glue it together like this, so that the visible part of the edge piece is basically done. And after this is done, you're going to glue these together. And again, this is just by putting a bit of glue on the edge here and pressing it against each other. This doesn't look too stable, but I've been using this method for quite a while now, and the glue is so strong that it really doesn't matter if there is a piece where the glue goes, or if you just glue it edge to edge. Matthias, I really don't think that I will build a 5x5 on stream, but I'm planning to do a building series about a 5x5 because I have designed a better version now and I've already printed it out. And once everything is cut out, I'm going to start making a building series about that one. James Rising, you're asking if this will take over an hour to build. Yeah, it definitely will. So I think 2 hours will probably be enough, but I won't promise anything because it's really hard to guess how long the whole building process is going to take. But an hour is definitely not enough, because now we're already 23 minutes in, and so far I've built the core and half a corner piece. So we have quite a bit of work ahead of us. And D-Boat, well, the Let's Build Together core will probably also not be a 1x1. Because, well, I know it was a joke by you. But honestly, if you have any honest ideas, any really good ideas, then feel free to leave them in the chat. Because I don't know what I'm going to build in my next Let's Build Together so far. So feel free to suggest anything you think might work. Okay, so the next step would be to glue this piece in here, but this is not quite dry yet. So I'm just going to set this aside and continue with this little connector piece. Again, I'm cutting into the lines a bit, then folding it and gluing it together. there's really nothing special about this piece. And again, I'll put it aside to let it dry. Now, while these pieces are still drying, I'm going to glue together a few more of these pieces here, because they always need quite a bit of time to dry, so if I build them earlier on, then we don't have problems later where we don't have anything else to do, but the pieces still have to dry. Rakesh, you're asking why it took me so long to get the live stream started. Well, I wanted to do it a bunch of times, but always there is something else. I had something else to do, and I didn't want to sacrifice like my real life for YouTube stuff, because that's not worth it. I think you'll understand that. So it took me a bit longer, but now here I am, and I hope it wasn't too long for you. Oh hey Leobel, I'm really happy you stopped by. Well, the usual, if you have any questions, just leave them. But I guess you remember that I commented on one of your videos, and I just wanted to give you a little update on that. So here is the puzzle. Everyone, Leobel is another paper puzzle designer, and I asked him if I could show off one of his designs on my channel, and he kindly agreed. So I'm going to upload a video in a few weeks where I'm going to build an Ivy cube out of paper that he designed, and I have to say it looks absolutely awesome. I really love the job he did there, so huge shout out to Leobel, and go subscribe to him. He's a really awesome dude. But enough for right now. This is going to be a separate video because this is so amazing. So let's continue here. Rakesh, you're saying I should move the puzzle. I think you're talking about the Ivy cube. Maybe if I have time later I'll do so, but right now I want to continue to build the Skewb because I'm not really sure how long it will take me, and I don't want it to take me like 3 hours. So for now, let's just continue building the Skewb, and if it isn't too late later, then I'll be happy to show off the Ivy cube a bit more. Matthias, it is exactly Leobel's Ivy cube template, so I just used his template and build it from there. So yeah, it is similar because it is exactly the same puzzle. So right now I'm just getting the boring part out of the way. And also I'm doing it now because these pieces all have to dry for quite some time. And I want them to be ready later when we really need them. Rakesh, you're asking where I'm living in? Well, I think you're asking me. So I'm not living in the US because you asked in which state I'm living. I'm living in Germany. Oh, okay, I'm sorry, Karen. I didn't know that the name is the name of your father. I'll try to remember later. But okay, Karen. I'll try to remember that. So only 2 more pieces of like these few left, and after that we can move on to something more interesting again. Sebastian, you're asking if I'm still going to school. So I'm going to university by now. So in a way, I'm still in the education system, but I'm not going to what you normally define as school. Come on, stick together. So yeah, with these pieces it is a bit annoying because you have to hold them together like nearly a minute until they really stick together. Yeah, Sebastian, it's all good. But I agree with you. You shouldn't really share personal information in the chat. So I think something like where the country where you're from is okay, but nothing more personal, I think. So only one more piece of these to go. I think we're making pretty good progress. Right now it doesn't really look like that, but because we're only building these identical pieces here, but they're going to come in really handy later. Hey Karm, yeah, obviously you can leave if you want to. Well, feel free to do whatever you want. Also, hi Nitoxin, thanks for stopping by. If you have any questions, just write them in the chat and I'll try to answer. Also, hi Fabio, thanks for stopping by. Yeah, today's stream is rather early, but I got a bit of feedback that the other time, the later time slot, doesn't really work for many people. So I'm trying out something different now. And well, speaking from the people who are watching the stream, I think this time is working out better. But you can also write in the chat which time you would prefer. So Karm, bye. Maybe you can stop by later again. And Erika Zafke, you're writing that it is quite repetitive. That's true, but now we're actually done with this step and we can move on to the rest of these parts of the edge pieces. And also, pretty much all my paper puzzles are pretty repetitive to build, because in twisty puzzles you always have many pieces that are identical in shape, so you have to do everything like 10 times or something like that often. I'm preparing both of the pieces right now because I already have the blade in my hand, so... And also like that I don't forget to do it afterwards. Oh Kellen, I'm sorry, I'm trying to remember that your name is Kellen, and I think you wrote that Erika is your mother or something like that. But it is a bit difficult to remember all of that, so it might happen again, but I'm going to try. Balu, you're writing that I should do a 3x3 hexagon Mega Minx. I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. Do you mean like or no, I don't really understand, because at first I thought you meant something like a floppy cube, but in the shape of a Mega Minx, or of a like a five sided thing. But that wouldn't be a hexagon but a pentagon, so I think I'm wrong there. And Peshwoon, I'm sorry, I probably really mispronounced that name. I never modded any Rubik's Cube or any Twisty puzzle, so I can't give any modding tips. I really only ever build puzzles out of paper. Come on, it's not sticking together. Oh, let's try again with more glue. So, Kellen, you're saying that I should make a Megaminx template? Yeah, that's true, that would be really nice, but my first version of the Megaminx is really not very good. So I want to build a new version, and I already tried once, but I don't know, I messed something up there, so the puzzle isn't functional. And right now I can't really be bothered to build it again, because I'm a bit annoyed because it didn't work out last time. But yeah, I think at some point I will definitely build another Megaminx, and that time I will make the template available. Cheshron, I love that you're asking what my other profession apart from this is. So yeah, this is really only a hobby. I'm a physics student, so yeah, that's what I do for most of my time, because studying physics is really time consuming. And also, chatroom, you're asking what my age is. I am currently 21. Fabio, I think sticker mods should count as modding a cube. I mean, it is maybe depending on the mod not as impressive as some of the mods that you can do by cutting a piece of puzzle apart and extending it and like all the stuff that Nathan Wilson does. But I think sticker mods definitely count as modding a cube as well. Well, Baloo, I'm sorry that you're bored. But building this puzzle, or building twisty puzzles in general, sadly isn't the most interesting of activities, because it always is pretty repetitive. So now that once that this is glued together, we can start to attach these pieces to the corner pieces, so they will finally take their shape. Okay, here we go. So now we can take this one, and I think this is the one that dried the longest. Yeah, it should. Looks pretty dry. So now we can take this and bend it a bit more. And we want to glue it into here, like this. So to do that, I'm just going to put glue all around this edge here. And here with these parts you really don't want to use not enough glue, because these are only glued together on a very small surface, so it is really important that they have much glue, because otherwise they will fall apart again. And now just put this up on here and press it down until it dries. So let me focus here. Come on. This is how it should look like. There are small overhangs around here, so here, but we can cut them away later. It's not bad. It is not too bad if that happens. So yeah, that is the first part. Then afterwards you wanna use this and glue it into the middle, like this, or roughly like this. I will show you once I did it. We'll put glue on here. And now we'll try to get it as centered as possible. So this is not very centered, to be honest. Come on. This is always a bit difficult to get right. But I think this looks pretty nice. This should work. And now once this connector piece is done, we can take one of the smaller of these pieces and glue it on here. For this, again, we put glue on this seam and then just press the upper piece onto there. Just like this, and now it's important again that you get it into the middle. Should work. it's not quite dry, so every time I'm touching the inside, I'm gluing my finger a bit to the puzzle. Yeah, it looks nice, I think. Okay, so this is our first edge piece complete. Later we will have to cut away some pieces here, or the overhangs here, but we will get to that later. For now we'll just continue with the other corner pieces. So just a quick question to the people who are building along. Are you keeping up so far, or am I going way too fast? Well, this is a bit not centric enough, but it should be okay. Okay, Sebastian, you're saying that I'm going too fast. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I'm too fast. So how far behind are you? Because I think I can go a bit slower, but if I go too slow, the stream is going to take forever, and it's just going to be even more boring if you're not building the puzzle along. So I'm not really sure if I should go slower or if it is working like this, and because you can also just rewatch the parts after the stream is done. So yeah, now we need another of these connector pieces, and again I'm cutting along the lines for a bit, and now gluing it together. Okay, this doesn't have to dry for that long. We can just use it directly and glue it into there. Okay, Sebastian, you were saying you think you can catch up. That's nice to hear, so I'm just continuing, and if later you have any questions on an earlier step, you can also just ask me and I'll try to show you again. I think that's the best way to do it. It is important that we get this in the middle, and so far it doesn't look very centric, but I think we're getting there. Yeah, that I don't know what you think, but I think that should be good enough. Well, in the end it has to be. So yeah, nothing we can do about that. Just keep going. So now for the last corner piece, basically it's the same process, just once more. But after that we are done with this type of piece. I think the Skewb is not too bad for this type of video, so for a live stream, because at least we get 3 different types of pieces and every one of them is just in the puzzle 4 times. So it is not too repetitive. Or, well, the centers are... we have 6 centers, but we only have 4 of the corner pieces and 4 of the other type of corner piece, which are basically center pieces. Ah, come on. Okay, I'm messing up right now. Well, this this doesn't look too pretty, but as long as the piece stays in place in the end, I'm happy. Sebastian Parker, you're asking me if I like Skewb Shop more or the Cubicle. So I don't know, I bought something from the Cubicle a few times and I never bought something from Skewb Shop, because in Germany, well, you have to pay pretty much for shipping, because they send the puzzles all the way from the US. And yeah, so that's why I didn't purchase something very often from one of these big shops. But when I did, I always choose the Cubicle so far. So we're getting closer to finishing our first type of pieces, because I just have to do 2 more like gluing jobs and we're done with all of the corners. Balu, you're saying that Skewb is your favorite cube after 2x2, 3x3 and 4x4. For me, I'd say obviously the 3x3 has a special place in my heart, just because it is like the original. But I think after that, Skewb is basically my favorite puzzle. Because I really like speed solving it. And yeah, I've probably speed solved this Skewb way too much over the last few years. Okay, here we go. These are all the corner pieces done. So yeah, with this one we have all 4 of the corner pieces. So we can just set these aside, and I think we're going to continue with the centers, because then we can already attach the centers to the core. And that also has to dry for a bit, and maybe even in between the individual centers. Oh, I'm just realizing I have to update the what I'm doing part again. I'm really thinking, really don't forget it today. I'm kinda happy about that. So next step are the centers. For this, I think I'm going to go ahead and first of all attach this one to the core, because it goes in here and then we glue this shut so that it is attached like this and the centers can turn freely. And for that we need another disc, so I'm just cutting that one out. Here it doesn't have to be pretty or anything, it just have to be roughly round. So that'll do. Now the next step is to cut into the axis a bit, and we only want to cut up until the line that is drawn on the axis, and I don't know, like 3 or 4 cuts should be enough. Ah, come on, my scissors aren't cutting. Well, then this has to be enough. Yeah, this should work. So now we're going to put the centerpiece through there. And once this is done, we can spread the axis like this. And glue the disc onto there. So I'm putting some glue on here. And now the disc. Oh, come on. Came off again. I thought it was already pretty glued onto there, but apparently not. So I press it on there a bit more. Okay. And now that this is done, I'm closing the center, so come on, this is a bit finicky, this part. So I'm putting this piece inside, and then we can close the center like this. So now we only need some more glue around here. And like this. And then we can glue this part shut. Now we want to let this dry and watch out that it is not extended while drying, because then maybe it might happen that the pieces get glued to one another and the center won't be able to turn in the end. So just put it like in the middle here and set it aside so it can dry. In the meantime, we'll continue with the next centerpieces. So again, I'm cutting into all of the lines. Pretty much the same stuff as always. And I think I'll do the same for all three of the pieces right now, so I don't have to do it afterwards. Oh, no, I won. Okay, that's already the third one. Well, then I can fold everything and glue it together. These pieces are pretty straightforward to which parts get glued to which parts. So obviously this is glued together, so we get this kind of visible chunk of the corner pieces. And then we're going to glue this together so that we can close the corner piece, the centerpiece, sorry, like this. And also, while building the first of the pieces, I found out that these parts here where the glue goes are a bit too big, so we want to cut a bit of them away like this, because otherwise the axis isn't going to fit through the hole. So this should be enough. And now we can just put the glue on these pieces and glue it together. Okay, this looks nice. And now it is important that we don't glue on the last face just yet, because again there has to be an access through this hole here. So, well, I'll check. Okay, that doesn't feel too bad. So I think I'm going to continue with this center for now, because we still need these rails. Because here we have these rails here, where the other pieces can hook onto, and we need the same for this and for the other centers as well. So I'm going to glue these together really quick. These aren't very difficult, it's just cutting into these two lines here, and then gluing it together, like edge to edge like we did with some other pieces before. Skewb, you're asking what time it is in my country right now. Here it is 4:15, so 4 in the afternoon. I usually, the last streams I did pretty late in the evening in my country, because it is a better time in the US. But for this one, I thought I'll try out a different time slot, because I have really many people who watch my videos from India, and the previous time slot is pretty much the worst possible time for people in India. Fabio, you're saying you're looking forward to the Paper Paint Ultimate in the future. I don't really think that is going to happen, but who knows. I also, a few years ago, I didn't think that I would ever build a 5x5 auto paper, and I did. And I'm even insane enough to build another one in the future. I'm so going to regret that. Come on. Hi Cracker Time, thanks for stopping by. As you can see, currently I'm working on the centerpieces. And yeah, if you have any questions to the building process or anything in general, just tell me in the chat. And this doesn't want to stick together. Now we have it. Ah, come on. This is so frustrating. Sometimes the glue just does that. If it doesn't stick together right away, you have to try so long and hold it together for minutes until it finally decides to hold together again. Cracker Time, you're asking me what my favorite Rubik's Cube to make is. I'm not sure. I think obviously I really like the 3x3, and also just come on, it's sticking better to my finger than to the other part. I really like the 3x3, so I think I have to go with that, just because by now the template is pretty professional and pretty far developed, so the pieces look really nice, and I think it's really fun to build something that in the end really looks, I don't know, kind of like it could be solvable in a decent amount of time. But come on, this just does not want to stick. Apart from the 3x3, my favorite puzzle that I've built so far. Oh. I mean, I liked the 5x5, but that one just was way too much work. And yeah, I think apart from that, I really like the Ready Cube, which I built yesterday actually. But the design of that one isn't by me, because I just built the one that Leopold designed. But if it's evening where you are, then I'm guessing that you're from India, because like it's 4 PM here, so 5 hours time shift. I'm not sure how much time shift there is to India, but well, you're at least east of me, and quite a bit east. So tell me if it's India, because I'm just curious if I guessed correctly. Cracker Time, you're asking how to find the blueprints for the Ready Cube, or for which one? Because the ones for the Ready Cube, Leobel linked to them in... Yeah, exactly, Fabio. He makes the blueprints himself, and he linked to a Google Drive folder in the description of the video where he showcased the puzzle. Ah, come on, these aren't sticking together. What's happening? I thought this would... I never thought that these dumb pieces would take me so long to build. I'm very sorry for that, but well, if they don't want to, then I'm going to have to take my time with them. Okay, this should be fine now. I'm not going to touch these for a bit, because I don't want to break them again. So I'm just going to continue folding these centerpieces here. And yeah, I'm praying that these stay intact and that they are strong enough. So I just have to quickly fold these pieces and then glue them together. But this shouldn't take me too long. Oh no, I didn't cut into this line, because otherwise it would fold more easily. Oh, there we go, but I already messed the piece up a bit. Well, this doesn't look too bad. So yeah, I'm cutting into my pieces, into the lines a bit, because like that it is way easier to build the to fold the pieces, because otherwise the paper crinkles around where you want to cut it and it really doesn't look very nice. And if I'm doing it like that, it's way prettier in the end. Again, here we want to cut away some of these pieces, because they would be in the way later. I didn't think about that while designing the template, but it is not too difficult to do this just while building it. Ah, come on. I'm kind of messing up the build right now. Because somehow things don't want to stick together and it's not going very well, but it's okay, we will get there. So yeah, this is the main part of the second center that we are building. And now just once more. Hey, again, I forgot to cut in here. Cracker time, thanks for the compliment, but it's mostly practice. I'm just this fast in building the pieces, because by now I've built, I don't know, like I think 30 paper puzzles or something like that. So you really get used to just what steps you gotta do one after another, and it just gets, yeah, nothing special anymore to build something like that. And this is already our last centerpiece. So I'm pretty happy with our progress. I think 2 hours are not going to be enough, if I'm honest, so I don't think that I'm going to finish this puzzle in the next half hour. But I think in 1 hour we should be done. Okay, Cracker Time, you're asking me what the hardest Rubik's Cube I've built so far is. And, well, that's a pretty easy one, because I have to go with the 5x5. I mean, it has so many pieces, and the way I've designed it, they were pretty small and pretty precise to build. So that one was kind of hard. And it obviously, because it was so many pieces, it took me basically forever. But it was also fun, and I think the puzzle turned out pretty well. Okay, this is the third of the centerpieces. Now we're going to take these pieces, and yeah, they look like they're kind of holding together. I'm still not very happy with how these turned out, but it'll have to work. And we want to put them on there like we did with this, or like I did before the stream with this rail. I can focus here. So we want this curve here, and yeah, let's just try to do that. Yeah, this could work. So just put glue on this inner edge here. And now once this is done, we can put it on here, and the important thing now is to watch out that it is evenly spread from that it is in the middle of the pieces, and then to press it down on the spots where I'm holding it right now, because it has to form a circle around the point where the pieces rotate around. And this, well, is again not sticking to the piece, which is really annoying and is happening way too much right now. But apart from that, which is a pretty big problem to be honest, it looks nice. Hey, Cracker Time, so far I'm not selling any of my puzzles, but that might change in the future. But yeah, so far it's in Germany you have to do a bunch of paperwork to be allowed to make money, and I never could be bothered to do that because that's really much work, and honestly I would earn next to nothing with that. So I just never wanted to go through all of what you have to do to be allowed to do that. Okay, this... I'm not really happy with how that turned out. Come on. This... Okay, this is really not good. I have to try to save this somehow. I mean, it doesn't look horrible, but I really was hoping that I could get it done more evenly. So yeah, I'm probably just going to hold this piece in place for a minute or something like that, because otherwise it's just going to get loose again and I will have to do the same thing all over again later. Okay, that was this looks okay. Well, it has to. So, next piece. I'm just not going to think about that anymore for now, and I'm hoping that it'll work out in the end. Oh, cracker time, you have to go. Well, thanks for stopping by, and yeah, have a great day. This piece is going quite a bit better than the last one, I think. So this doesn't look too bad. Just gonna hold it together a bit longer, and then I think it will stick on its own. So yeah, come on, no, it needs a bit longer. Well, that's no problem. Okay, now it's sticking together, so we can continue with the last of the center pieces. Oh, Fabio, you're asking me what the last twisty puzzle was that I purchased. I have to think about that because I didn't purchase twisty puzzles for quite some time now. Honestly, the most puzzles in my collection are paper puzzles by now. But I think the latest puzzle I bought was really the Skewb, so this puzzle here. Oops. Oh, let me put that aside again. Here we are. So now let's do this in there. That doesn't look too bad for now. Now we just have to hope that it will stick together. Oh no. Okay, we have a problem. Because the piece came loose. And now we have to try to get two things together at once. So you usually want to make sure that this is dry before you... so the triangular piece is dry before you continue. But I don't have that kind of time during an event like this. So I'm using the pieces while they are still drying, and I'm just hoping that they don't fall apart. But yeah, right now we have to bite the bullet and try to get this working somehow. So this might take me some time because once pieces are loose again, they will take very long to stick together once more. So I think I'm going to have to hold this together for a few minutes now. But if it is going to stick to there again, then I think this piece honestly looks pretty nice. And let's try again. What happens if no? Okay, it's still loose. This is annoying right now, but there's really nothing I can do about it. But I think it's going to stick soon. Okay, I want to say hello, but I really don't have any idea how to pronounce this name. So hello, TRT. Well, if you have any questions, just leave them in the chat. Right now I'm trying to fix some mistake I did here. And well, once this is finally done, I can attach one more of the pieces to the center. Oh, for God's sake. Well, let's try with even more glue, even though I think by now this is not helping anything. Come on. Yeah, Baloo, I'm really sorry that this is taking me so long. It's just not holding together. Oh man, this is so frustrating. Okay, so I have to hold this together for a bit longer. But while I'm doing this, I can already cut along the lines for the next pieces. Because we want to make progress somehow. And, well, I think otherwise we will sit here, still sit here in 2 hours. And I don't think any one of you wants to do that. So I'm just trying to multitask here for a bit. Now here with this piece it is important that you do not cut along this line, because you don't fold along here. So you always only cut along straight lines. Is it holding? Yeah, I think that works. I'm just gonna leave it there and hope that it doesn't fall apart again. Yeah, that looks good so far. Oh no, it's falling apart again. This is so annoying. Well, anyways, I'm going to put these aside for now, and we're going to attach one more center to the core. So for the second one, it doesn't matter how it is oriented, or on which of the axes we put it. So we can just like choose any of them. And well, again, before we do that, we want to cut into the axis like we did last time. So here we go. Now just grab this in here, and we're gonna need one more circle or circular thing, because you can't really call this a circle. Oh hi, Cracker Time, you're back. I'm making quite a bit of progress here, so by now the centers are all done and only have to be attached to the core. And yeah, right now I'm attaching the second center to the core. Someone is asking if I can make a 6x6. Right now, not. In the future, maybe someday, but for that I really have to have really much time, because a 6x6 would be so many pieces, and yeah, that's going to take forever to build, and also designing that puzzle wouldn't be easy at all. A 4x4 is easier, and I think a 4x4 should be possible, because I've built a 5x5 and basically a 4x4 is a 5x5 just with some hidden pieces. So that might be possible, but I'll have to see if I can be bothered to build one. So now I'm closing the second center. This is always a bit finicky to get the axis in there, but now it's in. Component. These parts aren't where they're supposed to be. Now here we are. This looks good. So now we just need some glue. And this looks fine. Cracker time, you're asking me what my favorite color is. Honestly, I have no idea. I don't really have a favorite color. Okay, this is our second centerpiece attached. So you can already see they're going to be like this in the end, and between these two there's going to be one of these quadratic pieces. So let's see. Yeah, it'll look like this. So this looks pretty promising, to be honest. But we still have quite some pieces to build until we get there. Okay, I'm going to try to glue this together one more time, because here you can see that there is a small gap between the pieces, and they are not really sticking together, and that in the end that would be a pretty big problem. So I'm just trying once more while I'm cutting into the lines of the next few pieces. AC1HC. Yeah, I'm building a Skewb. I'm finally doing it. So thanks for stopping by. If you have any questions, just leave them in the chat and I'll do my best to answer. So someone's asking what's the biggest N by N cube out of paper. That's actually my 5x5. I don't know of any bigger paper with Skewb, and I'm pretty sure that there is none, because I think I would know of it. Or I mean, I hope you want to know the biggest in terms of layers, because if you're saying the biggest in terms of actual size, then I have no idea. Oh hey, I think this is actually holding together now. That is great. So I think this should be right long enough. So I think we can attach the next center. So for the third one now, it is important where you put it. And we can see this is going to be the white face here. So if we turn this like this, then we can see there is green and orange, so this piece has to go on here. So again, same procedure as the last few times. We're going to cut into the axis a few times. Just like this. And now we need one more circle. Oh god, this looks so bad. And I'm going to cut out the last circle already, because we need it anyways, and I might as well just cut it out now. Okay, so now again I'm putting the centers through the axis through the hole in the center, threading the axis and gluing one of the circles on there. Come on, the pieces all don't stick to where they should. I don't know why that's happening so much today. Okay, this should be okay now. Before we close this, we can just do the same with the last center. Or no, because if all the centers are already in place, it's harder to get in there. So I'm not trying to make it harder for myself by attaching more centers before closing the previous ones. So I'm going to continue by closing this center, if that is working. It's pretty finicky to get the axis inside of the pieces, but here we go. This should work. And now we can close the piece. So, hi, Soham Yata. I probably pronounced that way wrong. I'm sorry for that. Thanks for stopping by. And yeah, Balu, sorry I didn't notice that before. You were asking what's my favorite Rubik's Cube. So I think my obviously my favorite is 3x3, just like with probably pretty much everyone. Apart from 3x3, I would personally go with Skewb, just because, I don't know, somehow I really like that one. And I also really like speed solving it. It's the only puzzle that I really speed solve, or that I really like practice and stuff. Okay, so now 3 of the centers are attached and only 1 more to go. Same procedure here. Cut into the axis and yeah, you know the drill by now. Yeah, an Examings out of paper or a 19 by 19 would be insane, but that's just so far out of what is physically possible. Or at least if you don't want the puzzle to be like 5 meters, to have like 5 meters edge length. So for the last center, this is all going to be a bit more finicky because we don't have as much space as with the last ones. But basically the process in theory is exactly the same. So just put glue on there and yeah, glue this on there. Okay, I'm going to let this dry for a bit, and I'm already continuing with the... Technically these are edges. So yeah, I'm going to call them edges, even though they look more like centers because they are in the middle of the Skewb pieces. But anyways, technically they are edges, so we're going with edges. Okay. I'm just folding everything. Sorry, I kind of forgot to watch the chat. So, Matthias, you're saying I should build a Hexaminx. That's actually a really good idea because I really like the looks of that puzzle. And I'm really interested in how the cut patterns would look like if it would be made out of paper. Because I only have the image of Nathan's Hexaminx in my head, and that one looks really crazy. And you have all these like curved lines where the cuts, where the pieces are meeting each other. But I don't think that you would have so much curved lines if you would build this out of paper, because with paper you're trying to get as many straight lines as you possibly can. And Baloo, you're working on a paper spacecraft. That sounds really awesome. And that can land. I don't know how I can even imagine that, because that sounds really cool. Matthias, you made my Master Morphix with regular paper, and it moves really nice. That's cool to hear. And mine was way too loose, pretty much because in the designing process I forgot to mark out some areas that I have to cut. So when I printed it out, there were some parts missing and I had to eyeball them. And yeah, the puzzle worked in the end, but I tended to cut out too much material, and because of that the pieces were way too loose. So the center is taking shape. Now that the bottom pieces here are attached, we have to glue this together like this, or yeah, we'll do that first. So we have to glue it onto here. Cracker time, yes, I do have a 3D printer. You can even, on my channel, I made a video about one puzzle that I 3D printed, and I 3D printed a few more puzzles afterwards. I just didn't make YouTube videos about them because this channel is about paper puzzles, and I think that's what you people are interested in, and yeah, I didn't want to annoy you with making videos about other stuff that you're not really interested in. Ah, come on, this is kinda hard to hold. Okay, I'm going to put more glue on here and try again with the help of screwdriver. Yeah, this looks better. This actually looks way better. So now that this is attached, all that's left to do is to attach these flaps, these small parts here on the side onto here, and that's again just edge to edge without any pieces that are dedicated for the glue. But because it's such a tiny connection, it shouldn't be a problem anyways. Okay, Cracker time, you have to go again. Then thanks for stopping by again. And bye. So this is our first edge piece. And if you take a look at the edge piece that I've built beforehand, you're noticing that here are these small strips that I didn't attach here yet. And for these I didn't make a template because they really are pretty trivial to build. You just take a strip of paper, like this, and then just cut out a strip that's long enough so you can glue it on here afterwards. Someone's asking if this is the final piece. Well, this is the final type of piece. So all the edges, all the corners are done and all the centers are done. And now we only have to do all of the edges. But after this one we still have 5 more edges to go. Okay, this was somehow way too short. I don't know what happened there. Yeah, this should work. Then once you have this piece, well, I'm just going to cut out a few more of those because you're going to need quite a few of them. And it's annoying to get to try to get the size right every time. So I'm just copying the size from this one. So now we have a few of these pieces and we can work with those. Hi Oksana Barbich. I'm guessing you're a sibling of Alexander who has stopped by earlier. So thanks for stopping by, and yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Okay, so as you saw right now, for these pieces you just bend them a bit and glue them along the line that's drawn on the pieces. Ah, come on. Honestly, this is all going south right now. I just hope that I can finish the puzzle and that it is actually working. But right now I'm not too optimistic. Because it's really not going too well. Okay, this should work. So this is our second edge piece. And now I think we can close this last center piece. So the mechanism is complete now. Here we go, the mechanism is done now. And I really hope that I did not mess up the color scheme, but it looks right. So that's nice. We can just leave that to dry and focus on the remaining 4 pieces. Only 4 more to go. I hope that I can wrap this up rather quickly. Oh, come on, why is nothing sticking together right now? I'm really annoyed by this point. I don't know what's wrong with the glue, but today is just not my day. Come on, nothing is holding together. This. Anyways, here we finally are. Now we can glue this last part together. Okay, this worked way better than the first time. Here we go, number 2 is done. Okay. Anyways, on to the next one. Well, this one went really well, to be honest. Almost done with it. Here we go. Only 2 more pieces to go. Right now we're not making... we're making quite a bit of progress. So I think we should be done with this puzzle in like 15 minutes or something like that. I hope that the people who built this puzzle along with me could keep up at least a bit and didn't fall behind too much. I know that because I have very much practice in building these things, that I tend to be kind of fast and just build the stuff too quickly to build along. But I hope that you're still getting something out of building along and that it is helping you to build it. And if you have questions, feel free to ask them anytime. So right now I'm just completing the second to last piece. Only a single one left to go. So let's get this done. Here we go, last piece. Okay, that's it. I think I'm going to try to assemble the puzzle now, and then we'll see if it works. And if it does, then I think I'm going to end the stream here, because these pieces, I didn't glue these pieces onto all of the edges so far, because they have to dry for quite some time, and I don't really want to glue them on now and have to wait for 10 or 15 minutes, because that would be pretty boring. So we're going to try to assemble this now, and hopefully it will work. Maybe it won't. We will find out. If it doesn't work right away, I have a few ideas what I can do to the puzzle, so it will work better. And yeah, I think we should be good here. So for the lower layer, come on, get in there. The white one was this, yeah. And okay, there is the green edge. This looks fine, I think. Oh, okay, yeah, I just remembered why we do definitely need these pieces, because the edges hook onto them. So, well, for now I think I'm to give you a sense of how this puzzle is looking in the end. I'm going to assemble it anyways, because I think it will stay together, and then I'm going to take it apart again and glue on these strips. It looks really unstable while assembling it, and that is partially because the edge pieces aren't fully built, and partially because while assembling it the pieces can't support each other yet, and that's really needed for twisty puzzles. So this is basically how the puzzle is going to look in the end. And we can try to make a turn now. Yeah, it's kind of working. But the problem is right now the mechanism is partially missing, so the pieces will just fall apart. But okay, hey, here we go, we can actually make turns. So yeah, this works. It doesn't work that well, but like I said, that's because the puzzle is not complete yet. But I just wanted to show you how it will look, because I won't be able to show it to you completely, because for that I have to wait for 50 minutes to let some pieces dry. During which I could basically do nothing else, and well, that would not be interesting at all, so I'm just going to leave it here. This is basically the puzzle. It is functional already, which is honestly pretty surprising to me, because it is missing key parts of the mechanism, but now we can disassemble it again. And all that's missing is just these pieces which go out of here. So let's put them all here. And now we can put all of these aside, and we need these pieces on all of the edges. So 2 of them are already done, we can put these aside as well. And for the remaining, we can take these pieces of paper and put glue on them and glue them there. So Matthias, you're saying that the puzzle looks very unstable. That's true, and that is partially because it is a paper puzzle, obviously, but partially, as I said, because it will be stable. It will be way more stable once these parts here are attached. But these are going to take a bit to dry. And that's why I can't really show you the end product in this stream. And I just wanted to show you how the puzzle will look like in the end, because otherwise I think it would be pretty unfulfilling. But yeah, I think I'm just going to show you here again how these pieces have to be attached. So you bend the paper pieces in a way that they form this circular piece here. The camera won't focus now. And then you glue it on there such that it follows the line that is drawn on the piece. And let me show one more, and then I think I'm going to end the stream, because the rest is just the same on the remaining pieces, and the stream is going on way too long by now. And you already were able to see a bit of the puzzle. And it was technically working, even though obviously it wasn't too good so far. But once these are all attached and they have dried, the puzzle will be quite stable, I think. Because what I was feeling before was obviously the corners were incredibly loose, but that was because they were held in by nearly nothing. And these pieces here will in the end be mainly there to hold the corners, because the corners hook in there. So here we have these pieces and the corners go on there like this. So yeah, here you were able to see again how the strips are attached to the edge pieces. I will not build the remaining edge pieces, but that is exactly the same as it was here as well. So yeah, that's basically it with this Let's Build Together, because it's taking way too long already, and I don't think that it is very interesting to just watch me glue these pieces on here for, like, it'll probably take me another half hour until they are dried and until I can show you the finished puzzle again. So yeah, that's it. I hope that you enjoyed the stream, and I had a blast, and it was really fun with all of you. And yeah, I hope you're not too disappointed that in the end the puzzle is not assembled, but before you were able to see it assembled, and it did work. And yeah, this is just to show you how to, or these pieces, these attachments here, are just to show you how the puzzle can move even better. And yeah, that's it with this Let's Build Together. If you have any ideas for what I should build together with you next, please write me, I don't know, comment on this video or comment on any other video with ideas. I'd be happy. And yeah, see you next time. See you in the next one.